So there was a reverb here. It's not active anymore because I felt like I wanted to send it to the to my new sounds in the project in the box instead, to just make it more workable in the mix. And here you can see these are the processing I've talked about before. We got the erosion, we got the saturator as a wave shaper, a little bit of drum bus to kind of bring back the percussive elements in it. And there's some discrete on the top, a little bit of compression. In this case, it's not doing that much because it's not like being driven into it. So, no, it's not endless. But yeah, there's a lot of processing going on, and this has probably been processed and re-recorded from the start. But if you take all these away, you can kind of hear that it's kind of an FM tom sound going on from the start. I think this is from the analog rhythm to begin with. And with these processing, it does these kind of really, really nice texturalized things. And in this case, the dark reverb does a lot with the tonality of it. So in this case, I'm using the reverb to get the tone back, which was really super effective in this case. And then we have the top layer, which is also derived from the same sound, just different filtering, a little bit more distortion. So in this case, I resampled this group into that track and then just added a little bit more distortion and filtering on it just to control it a bit more and get those like upper harmonics and lush things going on. And let's see what else there is. There's this kind of texture. Yeah, again, like this is my go-to kind of processing. So wide and dirty, some drum bass and some Valhalla on this channel. Because in this case, I didn't want it to feel this grainy. I wanted to feel more smooth. So that's why I put a reverb on there and really made it dark, deep, and like long, and not that long, but you know, like just to get those kind of harsh spiked sounds out of there. So that's when I used that reverb just to make it in like a sound design aspect, you know, like to get the sound I want it to be, and then I'm sending it to another reverb after, you know, which is a reverb that I'm sending some other sounds to as well, which is again a Valhalla, and then there's some sidechain going on that one. And then there's some static noise. This is the noise that I would probably lower a lot in the mix these days. But I blame the room I was in before, because yeah, that noise didn't sound that loud in that room. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, we got this as well, which is another duplication of this one, I think. No, it's not. This is actually from something else. Let's see what that is. Yeah, it's a kick rumble layer. So this is probably a kick that I recorded from the analog rhythm, in the same sense that I do the kick rumble in the box now, but with the delay separated and the dry kick here. And then with all these processing, it's no longer a percussive sound in that sense. It's more grainy and more texturalized, and driving it really hard into a limiter can also like be really effective to get the tails longer when it comes to these sounds. So just get it to sound like it's got a longer tail. It's more of texturalized droney thing than just really super percussive. Yeah, it gives it more body for sure. It does, yeah. So sometimes I think like we learn to be really careful with these things, but we can drive things pretty hard in the box if we want to. I think it's just as long as it sounds good, you know. That's the main part. And then let's see what this is. Okay, that's just something that we actually can take away because it's in channels from my audio interface, so we don't even need that anymore. So thank you. Yeah, it's a good example of less is more. It's a whole track with basically nothing in it. It's just some percussive sounds that kind of sounds like it's a lot more than it is. And then we have our some layers of atmospheric stuff going on. Some frequency shifting here to find like the right spectrums, a little bit of erosion again, just to get it grainy. On this one, there's just frequency shifting, EQ, and a little bit of filtering. And these ones aren't even active, so you know, there's not much going on with that one. This one can be deleted. And then we have this one. I think it's placed out, yeah, in the mix here. And it's also a little bit of ring modulated just to get it sounding where we want it to sound. So, and everything is grouped with a reverb on the group. So let's see how this sounds without it. Yeah. It's a lot more grainy and weird and not that nice at all, if you ask me. So let's see this one without anything. Pretty cool, but I wanted it to be more in another frequency spectrum, so I put the ring mod on it. And I felt like it was a little bit too harsh, so a little bit too kind of drony, so yeah. And this one, let's see how that sounds without these. Yeah, so it's basically just not too advanced kind of tone. It's from like a recording of atmospheric sounds. In this case, I didn't use the dry signal. I just used my two reverbs that I recorded. One is the Eventide space, and the other one is my harmonizer, which is like kind of a pitch shifting reverb thing going on. But yeah, with this on, it's fitting the track a lot better. So those are the atmospheric parts. And I think there's supposed to be some hi-hats as well, right? So let's see what that is. Yeah, there's of course a lot of automation with volume, but there's not too much with filters and stuff. When it comes to automations, I like to mainly have the LFOs taking care of those kind of things, you know, because it's techno and you don't want it to be too progressive with things. At least I don't want that, you know. In my sounds, it's more about being in kind of a state of mind than to be progressing to somewhere, you know, getting caught in the loop, you know. So this is some kind of hi-hat I recorded from the analog rhythm, I think. A little bit of delay, very short delay. There's some micro pitch shifting going on, and there's a little bit of reverb. So let's see how it sounds without the effects. Yeah, it's not that beautiful of a sound. This is the micro pitch shifter, giving it a lot of more stereo room. And the micro pitch shifter is basically 4 pitch shifting delays that are really short, and they're hard panned left and right. So they do a lot of like widening of sounds, and I love to use those on hi-hats especially. So yeah, those came together like a good group. This is more of a fast rhythm going. Again, there's micro pitch shifting on this one. As you can hear, it's really like just pushing all the way out to